Design has a lot of different tools to help you work with the grid framework. I'm looking at this page right here, and we still are seeing our original 3 columns with 1 pike in between. And a lot of times that can be very useful, but sometimes you need to be able to create your own guidelines. There's 2 different ways to do that, either by hand or to let the computer generate them. The way by hand is if I want a horizontal guideline, I go up into the horizontal ruler and pull something down. Let's assume I want to put a small text block in here, and I want to use the edge of his tail rather than the entire column to align to the left edge. And maybe for the top, I want to line something up across from his nose. So to make a horizontal ruler, I go up into the top ruler, I pull down, and I'm going to let it next to the dog nostrils. And then I'm going to go over to the vertical ruler, and I'm going to pull over, and I'm going to let it go next to the edge of his tail, but I'm going to make a mistake. And I'm going to let go over here instead. These guides are something that you can go back and grab and move anytime you want to an exact specific position. I'm going to go ahead and grab this text block that I've written off to the side of the page, and I'm going to pull over here, and I'm trying to get it lined up where the tops of these grids intersect, but the computer's not really helping me out, so I'm going to put it back. If I go up to View, Grids and Guides, I see some of the features. One of them is that I have the Snap to Guides feature, which actually was turned on. By doing that, the guidelines become somewhat magnetic, and they help grab an object when you get close to them. The other thing I could do is I could tell these guides to lock. By doing that, I can't come back and move these anymore. So I'm going to move this particular block back over and try one more time, and this time it does look like the magnets are grabbing onto it when I get right there. I can hit the W command to see kind of what I'm doing here. If I want to, I can also have the computer auto-generate a series of grids. If I'm looking at this layout here, I can tell that this layout is basically built on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 row by 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of column guide. So I'm assuming that they set something up like this. I'm going to go up to layout. I'm going to pull down kind of below where you set the margins and columns, and let go here on create guides. And right here you can tell it's wanting to put the 1 pica gutter in. I'm going to tell it 7 rows by 4 columns, and I'm starting to see the structure in here, but I do not want the particular gutter gaps at this point, so I'm going to change both of those to be 0. And now when I let go on this, you can see that this is pretty much how they formatted this whole page. In the case of this particular project, you can use the column guides or these individual guides to help you align things better. So I'm going to zoom on in to this part of the page, and I'm going to go ahead and delete those couple of objects here. Let's assume that I've sized this bag where it needs to go, and I've put it exactly on the edge of the column where it's supposed to be, and I like the up and down movement of it. So I'm going to go ahead and push and hold on this, and I'm going to pull down and let go a guideline at the top of the bag, go up to the ruler and again pull down and let go with one on the bottom of the bag. Now I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to go ahead and place these other bags. This one's too large. I'm going to get it close, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the resizing command, which is Command Shift, and with the black arrow tool grab this top dot, and I'm going to pull down until I get that one. Resized again to where it's supposed to be. Let's say that I'm happy with that kind of placement of that. Then I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to place this white box. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to place it up here at the top, and I'm using the column guides to go ahead and help me stretch out and decide how big this bag should end up being. And now I'm happy with that placement too. In order to get the spacing of these right, there's a couple of other features that InDesign includes, like the Pathfinder function, and we'll use those at a later date. But for right now, we can't do that on this because not all of these bags fit perfectly within the boxes that they were scanned in. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to either the rectangle frame tool or the rectangle tool. I'm going to click it on the page, which is going to ask me how large do I want it. I want to make a 1 pica by 1 pica box. And then just to make it easier to fill, I'm going to go ahead here and insert it with a color. It makes it much easier to move by doing that. I'm going to put this box right on the red edge of the bag, and then I'm going to slide the tan bag over. And as I'm moving it over, I'm using one of those trick shortcuts that the shift button does, which again, if I was moving this over, I might be tempted to accidentally move it up and down. But if I add the shift button to my pull straight across, it's going to help it keep it perfectly horizontal. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to move this spacer over here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this white bag over. Again, I'm holding the shift button down just to help it constrain so that it stays on that line. And I'm going to use that spacer to space all the bags apart. And then when I'm done, I'm just simply going to delete it. So again, there's two major ways to be able to add the guidelines. One is drag them by hand by going up into the ruler and pulling down, repositioning them, deleting them, or whatever. Or the other option is to go up to Layout and go to Create Guides and let the computer automatically generate a grid for you if you kind of already have that vision for the page. And then we also added drawing that spacer bar and using that to separate these objects. And we also included the shift button, which allowed us to move either straight horizontal, or it also allows us to move things up and down in a perfectly kind of vertical line.